Good evening, everybody. I can't tell you how sad I am not to be in your midst at the moment, but for various reasons, Judy and I couldn't come across to California. That doesn't mean I don't want to be there or that I haven't got lots to. I'd like to hear from you, I'd like to talk to you about, because this whole subject of writing about wine has absorbed for me for half a century, and I'm slightly under egging it, but more than half a century. The thing is that wine writing has acquired an expression, wine writing, which somehow, to me, is not quite right. Are you a writer? Are you a wine person? You need to be both to communicate well about wine. But I just call myself a writer because I'm lucky enough to have that as my job, as my skill, as something I pursued for nearly all my life, writing. So I'll write for you about, somebody once said, I could read Johnson on coal mining. Well, I haven't actually got as far as coal mining, but I'll write for you. Anything you pay me for, I'll write for you. Wine is such a wonderful subject because it reaches out into geography and history and taste and cultures, and wine will take you wherever you want to go. And wherever you go with wine, you meet really interesting and very often very generous people. So it can turn into one long party. Resisting that and sticking to the bones of the thing, it's a fascinating subject, whichever way you take it. And it gets better and better. When I started in this trade, really it was the old classics. It was Bordeaux, it was Burgundy, it was the Rhineland, Riesling, it was port and sherry, it certainly was champagne, but it wasn't expanding very much until, I would say, until the 1960s, when one of the great landmark expansions was when Robert Mondavi opened his winery in the Napa Valley, and you could feel a sort of frisson. This was something which was romantic, extremely. It harked back to the missions. It was the most forward-looking, most modern, most ambitious. And dear old Bob, of course, could talk the hind leg off a donkey. He was an incredible promoter, and he immediately wanted to be compared with the Bordeaux first growth, and he hooked up with Baron Philippe de Rothschild. He was unbelievable. And when you tasted Mondavi Cabernet, in the next glass would be a Mouton Rothschild or a Haut-Briand, something like that, because he was absolutely determined that his wine should be taken seriously, and boy, was it. And of course, he led lots of others, people like, I think in about the same year, in the mid-60s, Don Chapelet opened his fantastic winery up on Pritchard Hill. The sense of excitement was incredible. And I caught it, and I wrote about it, and I still do from time to time. But this is the moment to talk about this marvelous new book on California. It's not the usual kind of wine book with glossy descriptions of glossy wines and that kind of thing. It looks at it philosophically, analytically, and above all, the point of view of really, really good writers. Their themes are not necessarily what you'd expect. Because Susan Keyville, the editor, is, to my mind, the anthologist. She has done a marvelous book on Bordeaux, bringing together just the kind of people you'd like to read, and so on and on it goes. And this, I think, is so far the masterpiece and the most original book on incredibly a subject which is really unexplored in literature, I think. It's a forward-looking book. It's a backward-looking book. It's fascinating book, which I should read it again and again, quite frankly. I'm learning all the time. Meanwhile, you've got lots to talk about, and I just want to leave you with a question or a theme, which is about something I haven't mentioned, which is wine scoring. To me, the wine scoring, whether you take the Robert Parker's 100-point crazy system or any other system, is a bit of a fake. It is a way of putting a pseudo-scientific spin, mathematical spin on personal taste and opinion. So debate that as long as you like, but don't score. Just put your thoughts down. Use flowery language, by all means. I'm all in favour of flowery language. Don't be afraid of metaphors. Don't be afraid of comparing wines with old ladies if that's what you feel like. Better be careful there. You just go for it and enjoy it. Thanks for being here.